There are people in power that are not criminals, always trying to hide something. There are, but I just think that suspicion is useful for people to have. It's something that I just...
I mean, I don't understand who doesn't have it, is the thing to me. Especially,
okay, well,
you should be extremely suspicious of anyone in a position of power because they have an impulse to accrue power. I mean, that's been always our position as citizens, is to be suspicious of the powers that be because they have this impulse to accrue more power, which is fine. That's why they're in the positions they are, because other people don't tend to want that. I don't want to be the president or whatever. But that doesn't mean I turn a blind eye to the president and allow whatever to happen. There should be this suspicion, but the weird thing is that we turn the suspicion on ourselves instead. And it seems to me that now more than ever, people are concerned with their neighbor, which is of course the hallmarks of the witch trials and all that, which is you end up looking over your shoulder instead of looking at the top, which was the witch finder general that originally stoked the witch craze. So you had people in their own towns finding, looking amongst each other to see who they could offer up. And at the very top was the person that said, hey, actually, here's a method by how you can turn in your neighbor that you don't like, or how you can make sure that someone else goes to the witch trials first before you do. And that person was making lots of money. This happened. The witch trials, the witch finder general made money going from town to town, telling the village, this is how you got to find the witches, and I'll help you get rid of them. But the funny thing is that eventually what did him in was the fact that people got tired of paying so much, because it raised the taxes on the villages to pay the witchfinder general for searching for and disposing of these witches. And so people started saying, we don't want to pay for this anymore.
All of these people burn themselves out at the end. That's the thing. And you said, well, how can people believe it? Isn't everyone suspicious? I think that more people are now than ever, partially because the ability to have information through the internet, regardless of if that information is true. Subtle point on this: even if you're a wild conspiracy theorist or whatever, it still leads to the breakdown of trust and suspicion, right? Maybe there's something useful to that, even if they're wrong. This is what I always say about the conspiracy theory people, is that even if they're maniacs and wrong about things, I think that there's always something useful about doubt. Now, I grant you that it can go too far and it can become absurd, and it can even be dangerous at times. But in the classic example of the televangelists, the preachers on television, throughout the 80s and 90s, it's happened over and over again. These gigantic people taking in millions of dollars, with huge congregations. And over again, what do you find in the end?
They're the worst of their congregation, doing all the things they preach against.
Over and over. How many times is the lesson need to be learned? I don't understand anymore.
Well, that's my fear, is that people, it's a mutual thing, right? Because the congregation gets something from the televangelist. There is this kind of symbiotic relationship there where we're hearing something we want to hear and you're getting what you want to get. My thing is, well, there's what brings you to that situation where you're so easily fed lies by a fraud? And that's my fear in the more general sense, not just, the religious sphere, but why are we so eager to lap up whatever the newest headline is, whatever the newest mandate is, or whatever it is that we're told is the story du jour that we're supposed to run with?